Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of No Bull Up Close and Personal. Today I have a special guest. Alex is here, the personal trainer extraordinaire. Alex is actually my personal trainer, and he has me on a mission. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. But today's real focus is all about health and wealth. Not only do they rhyme, they're extremely important to every single human being on the face of this earth. And for the most part, I would say that it's a lot of people don't give it the attention or the respect that it requires. So I thought it'd be interesting to have a good chat with Alex today, and just going through stuff on the similarities between both, and so our audience will be able to do that. So those of you who don't know me, my whole value proposition around my organization and company, Taurus Mortgage Capital, is really about wealth building. So I've helped many, many people who sometimes aren't in the best of shape in terms of their wealth building. Maybe they have bad credit, their income's low, and they have all these strikes against them, the debt levels are too high. But my job is to really get them to come to me, explain their situation, and from that point, I give them a plan in order to get their financial wealth and health back up and running. And the look that I see on my clients' faces, it's unbelievable when they go from renter to primary resident owner to investment properties. And that's what makes me happy. So, I've been a very, very good coach, I believe, to myself as well as my clients over the years. But the one thing that I didn't really spend a lot of attention on was my health. And that's why I went out and I got rid of all of my embarrassment. And I said, to hell with it. I really had to do something about my health because I know how important it is. So I hooked up with Alex, and I found him to be a brilliant young man. He's got it right. He put me right in the driver's seat. So yeah, I'm honored to have Alex here today. And so, I'll open up the table to Alex on the first question. My question to Alex is, wealth has been a very big part of what I offer to my clients and my friends, my family, and all that stuff. I know health is a very important part of your life. Why don't you tell our audience, what does health mean to you, Alex?
Well, health, what it means to me, and again, thank you for having me on your illustrious show. It's an honor. But what health means to me is basically quality of life. Your quality of life will be enhanced when you're healthier, right? And I find that people put their health on the back burner and don't really put emphasis on it till they don't have it anymore, until they go to the doctor and the doctor says, you got high blood pressure, you have diabetes, you have this, and only then, and sometimes it doesn't even register with the individual at that moment, but then that's when they try to take their health into their hands. And sometimes it can be a little too late if you go with that approach. And it's no different than with what you do. Sometimes people don't realize they have bad habits when it comes to their wealth. They don't save money properly. They don't. They just don't have those good disciplinary skills. And the same thing goes with people's health. They don't eat properly. They don't get good sleep. They don't have ways of releasing stress or dealing with stress. And over time, that can become very bad for the individual.
Yeah. So I hear one of the points that you just brought up, and I think it's very, very reflective of the Canadian population, well, in general, is that when it comes to health, people actually take care of their health in a reactive way. So something goes wrong, but we should all be proactive. I think we should all have a proactive approach to health. And so what's your comments on that?
I agree. I think it's one of those things, I don't know if it starts with the school system and putting more of an emphasis on educating the children at a young age, how to eat properly, the type of exercise that they need to do. Not everybody's going to be maybe into athletics, because sometimes that's a good avenue for younger kids to go. But I just feel like it's one of those things, unless you have the interest, the way it currently is right now, like in the Western part of the world at least, and maybe all of the world, is unless you have that interest and you care about your diet, you care about exercise, and you're one of those individuals who enjoys those things, then you tend to kind of put it on the back burner until it's something that becomes something you need to focus on.
Yeah. So in your mind, for example, I have a lot of friends. Some of them are either one way or the other. Some of them are so into fitness. I have so many friends that they watch everything they eat, they exercise constantly, and they're doing all this stuff. But at the other spectrum, from a wealth building, they're not as good. So I guess, why is it that people are only reactive to when it comes to their health? What can you do to encourage people? And then why aren't people looking after their health? It's so important.
Well, I think people they get so caught up with their lifestyle. Maybe they have kids, maybe they're in school, and the stress of, having the student loans, finishing their education and getting a good job after.
Right.
That stuff takes precedence. So then they're almost kind of putting their health on the back burner and thinking, I'll take care of this once I get the good job, once I finish school. And as you get busier, you get married, you get that job, that full-time job where you're really busy, those things become less of a priority, at least in your mind, because you're like, I got to pay my mortgage, I don't have time to go to the gym, I got to pick up the kids. So it's one of those things where you really have to have discipline. You have to carve out that time and make it a priority.
Yeah. So anyways, what you say is 100% right, because when I relate what you just said to the wealth side, when people are always constantly renting and they want to buy a house, but you know what they do? They make excuses of why they can't.
I don't have enough for the down payment.
I don't have enough. I have kids. I'm working too many hours. And when I look back at all this behavior, what I see for the people's excuses on wealth, the number one reason why I think that so many people suffer from being in a bad wealth position is because of their lack of education.
Exactly.
So what I try to do is people have to understand that they need to do things to get a good result, right? So having a bad credit score and not doing anything about it, it's not going to fix on its own. Having no down payment today, you're not going to miraculously win a lottery ticket and the money is going to appear in your court. You got to set out a plan and you got to stick to it. And I've seen it over and over, that wealth is so important, but at the same time, it doesn't come easy, right? For those of you who know me, I'm a big believer that, I believe that when you graduate from school, we all know that we have to have a wealth plan. Just like you're probably saying we need to have a health plan. You got to have a wealth plan. And the biggest reason is because when you graduate from school, retirement's like 45 years away.
Yeah.
Most people. So you got 45 years to retirement. And a lot of people think that's time. That's a lot of time to get it together. But what happens is people make so much excuses. People always putting it on the back burner. My wife, she's pretty guilty of this too.
Yeah.
She works a lot of hours. I get it. We got a lot of housework. But she always says, I'm too busy to look after my health. Yeah. And I warn her, you're young now. But it comes a time when we get older and the body doesn't respond the way it does today and your body starts to just explode.
Exactly. So, and especially as we get to a certain age, hormonally things change. Yeah. So what worked for you when you were 20 and maybe when you're in your 30s, when it came to your diet, came to exercise, all of a sudden those things don't work the same way because maybe hormonally as a male, your testosterone levels are dropping. So now even though you're exercising, you're noticing you're not able to build that muscle as fast. You're not able to burn fat as faster. Your libido goes down. You're not sleeping good. So, there's a integrated approach when it comes to health, just like with finances, right? And it's really geared towards the individual. Where is this person coming from? I might get a client who wants to lose weight, and that might be their primary goal, but they have bad knees, they have a bad back, they're really out of shape, they don't have the conditioning. So we have to correct a lot of things in order to get to that goal. Maybe they need to lose 60 pounds, but there's a lot of there's a program that we have to put in place for that individual. Yeah. And so you might get 4 people who all want to lose weight, and each of those people will have a different journey in how they get there.
The different path to
exactly.
Losing weight. Yeah. So for those of you guys, I guess over the last little while, I've my health hasn't been the greatest. For the last year and a half, I had a pinched nerve in my neck.
Yeah.
So I had a sharp pain in my arm, and it made me very well immobile. I couldn't play my favorite sport, golf. I couldn't do a whole lot of things. And that's when I started to wake up and say, you know what? it doesn't matter how much money you have.
Yeah.
If you don't have your health, you really can't even enjoy your life. And then right after that happened this year, you know, I caught shingles. And I know a lot of people probably don't even know what shingles is. It's supposed to be stress related, but the shingles was very painful.
It's like chicken pox, but even...
Yeah, it's a chicken pox virus that we have in our bodies.
Yeah.
That when you supposedly get older and it brought on by stress. But I hear a lot of young people have it too.
Yeah.
You know, I know people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s getting it shingles. But at the end of the day, I said to myself, because of the immobility of my nerve pinch, the shingles, you know.
It was a wake-up call.
It was a wake-up call. My body, I couldn't touch my toes. I was gaining weight. My flexibility was gone. I had neck stiffness. And I know lots of people, I know lots of you guys out there in the audience work at a desk, and we sit there a lot. And that's when I made up my mind, and I said, you know what? The hell with this. It doesn't matter if I have money. If I can't enjoy myself, play golf, and do all these things. So I gave a call to Alex, and I'll tell you right now, it took a lot. I'm older now. I'm 50 plus, and I'll tell you, I've never hired a person. I've known about personal trainers all my life.
Yeah.
I've never actually got someone to be my personal trainer. And the one thing is, you know what? I had a yoga teacher, and I went to her, and you know what? It was very good, but I was kind of embarrassed. I couldn't touch my toes.
Yeah.
And I was embarrassed because, you know, I was a little overweight and all this stuff. But I made up my mind just, you know, a month or so ago that the hell with embarrassment, because I know a lot of people, when they come to me for wealth building, they're embarrassed too. And the reason why they don't fix themselves because they don't want to admit their embarrassment to me.
It's hard for an individual to make that, to be honest with themselves and say, you know what, they look in the mirror and they go, you know what, I got to make a change,
Right.
Whether it be with their health management skills or their fitness. You know, people have pride and people don't like to be in those positions where they have to expose what they're embarrassed about.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, just like with you want to make people feel comfortable when they come in. You know, sometimes people get the misconception that when they're working with a trainer, oh my God, this guy's a drill sergeant. He's gonna
laugh at
gonna
me.
kill me. He's gonna embarrass me, and that's like the total opposite approach that we'll have, because you know, although what's on TV when you watch The Biggest Loser, people might think, oh well, that's what personal training is. They're just gonna kill me until I lose the weight. And what people have to realize is that's for ratings. That's for people to watch a TV show, and that's how they need eyeballs to watch, and that's kind of, they're creating a lot of that for shock value. So when it comes to the reality of it is, you're getting a client coming in, and what I do is I'll do an assessment. I'll ask you a bunch of different questions that relate to your lifestyle, because I have to know what it is, what the obstacles are that are currently in your life that are enabling you to be the best version of yourself, right? And then from there, we're going to see physically where you're at, and then we put the program together from there after I gather all that data. Just like you would when you have a client come in, you're going to get all that information because you have to come up with a game plan for that individual.
Right. So you know what, when I did go to Alex, I was a little embarrassed. I said, what the hell? It's funny that on our first workout, you know, Alex said, we're going to warm up a bit, and we're not going to get into the exercise right now. We're going to warm up for a bit. And it's funny, I wasn't embarrassed to tell him that, Alex, I'm exhausted from your workout. We haven't even started and I was already exhausted. But I felt very, very comfortable with Alex to tell him how I was feeling. And he actually told me, it's good that I know my body, because there's times when I overdo it like everybody else, and I feel sick and I almost feel like throwing up. And the same thing on the wealth side. I tell people, if you want instant gratification and become rich overnight, it is impossible. So when it comes to health, what's your recommendation? You got to do it, slow and steady? What is yours?
Well, I would say like the slow and steady approach would be the most applicable approach for most people. And unfortunately, we live in a world where people want instant gratification. There's a lot of gimmicks out there. And now with information being just a fingertip away, you know, Google, Facebook, what I always tell people is information isn't knowledge. Just because you can type in how to lose weight in Google and then 50 things pop up that all contradict each other. A lot of times it's people just selling gimmicks, supplements, fitness products, but it's not actually giving people the tools that they need to get their fitness journey started, right?
Yeah.
So to go back to your question, may you ask me that again? I went on a little bit of a tangent there.
Yeah, so I like what you just said. What information isn't knowledge. Information is there, but I have the same problem on the well side where people can go Google everything. They get all this information, but they still don't know how to do it, right?
Exactly.
So like going to Alex, like, do I know, is Alex talking a different language to me when he tells me what I need to do to get my body shape? Absolutely not. But I know if I didn't go to the gym, I don't know how to do it. So it's the same thing. Just because you understand it doesn't mean you know how to do it, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of nuances when it comes to working with an individual, finding what motivates them, keeping them accountable, and educating them on how to do it properly.
Right.
And I always say there's 3 reasons why people pay for a personal trainer. 1, accountability. 2, motivation. And 3, the know-how.
Right.
Because let's take your circumstances. You're very busy. You have 3 kids. Like, the last thing you want to do at the end of the day is research what the best course of action is going to be for you. Yeah. I take the guesswork out of it for the individual. You come in, you can just turn that part of your brain off and just let me guide you through that hour or that workout. And it makes your life easy because I got that appointment, I got to stick with it. Because just like when you have a dentist appointment or a doctor appointment, when that's in your schedule, you're going to be more accountable to go rather than I'm going to work out tomorrow. And you just keep procrastinating. You set that in motion and then you're going to stick with it. But I find people, once they get going and they build that routine, because I always say persistence beats resistance. Yeah. So once you get going, you get that momentum on your side, all of a sudden you haven't missed a day. And don't worry about being perfect. Just do your best to stick with the routine.
Everybody always has a different reason for wanting to get their health. I need it because I need to relax. I find it's a very good stress relief. It's a relaxation. It's my time to go to the gym. I'm not thinking about work when I'm there. Trust me. I'm too tired to think about work. So I love that. So it gives me stress. But everybody had different reasons, right? I found, like, in a short time that I started going to the gym again, my whole attitude has actually changed. Yeah. I'm watching what I eat. I won't dare, to do something that's going to undo my hard work.
Exactly.
I've made, I've asked Alex, what do I have for breakfast? Because I'm used to having, all this white bread with some butter and peanut butter, and then I'm hungry fast and I feel sluggish. So Alex is also teaching me about nutrition. So one thing that I would say is that it's changed my life in the short term. I'm watching what I'm eating. I'm actually, on the days that I don't see Alex, I find myself exercising on my own because I don't want to reverse what I've already built. I want to move ahead. And I do the same thing on the wealth side. Build on what I create for my clients. You need to continue and take it with things. So what do you recommend? Like, what is the key to sustaining a healthy lifestyle? Like, what is your recommendation for people?
My recommendation would be, you got to find that activity or that workout plan that you enjoy, because when you enjoy that particular, and there might be elements you don't enjoy, but you got to do, but you got to find that activity, whether it be going for a walk or weight training, or maybe it's a boot camp class, whatever it is, you got to make sure you stick with it. But you tend to stick with things you enjoy doing. So when you find activities that you actually like, that can help guide that process so much more.
Yeah. There's a life cycle when you go to the gym. I noticed like in January, right after Christmas, gym memberships are all-time peak. Everybody's motivated. Then all of a sudden they fall off. So maybe you can give our audience a reason how to build sustainability. Like, don't just get motivated for 2 weeks and you fall off. What do you recommend for people to keep that sustainability and make it enjoyable? It has to be enjoyable, but at the same time sustainable, so you can actually reap the benefits of exercising. So I am right? People go and then they fall off.
I mean, that's common every year. You notice like the gyms are way more busy January, February, then it starts to taper down by March, April, and then once the warmer weather comes in, all of a sudden you have people, I need to look good, I need to get ready for summer. Well, summer's already here, you're too late. And I think like you have to parlay like what it is, like your goals. You have to remind yourself why you're going. Some people, it might be more superficial, it might be more they just want to look better. Others, it might be more health related. Some people, it's more of a physical goal. Like I work with a lot of athletes too, and that also becomes more, maybe it's a performance attribute that they're trying to get. They're trying to be faster, they're trying to jump higher, whatever it is. But I think you got to just remind yourself, why am I starting this journey? And then when you tend to kind of see yourself maybe falling out of your routine, remind yourself why you started, and have a good support system, whether it is hire a trainer or you're going with a friend or your spouse. Try to have a good support system to keep you accountable.
Right. So I know what makes a good wealth builder and coach, which I am a lot to a lot of my clients. What makes a good personal trainer?
What makes a good personal trainer, in my opinion, is someone who practices what they preach. Mm-hmm. I mean, you wouldn't go to a dentist who had rotten teeth, would you?
True. That's right.
I mean, I see, and why it's not just about physically, being in good shape. Although that is important to me, because if I was to hire a trainer, I couldn't hire someone who was out of shape. That's just me. Yeah. I don't care how many degrees or letters you have beside your name. Education is important, but being able to help an individual from where they're at and making sure the program's tailor-made for that individual, and making sure it's a custom program and it's not just some cookie cutter approach. In my opinion, that's what makes a good personal trainer. Someone who's versatile, who's got good people skills, who's able to motivate people, and because everyone's different. We all, just like when you get clients of yours that come in, what works for one might not work for the other. Yeah. And you have to be able to be versatile, adapt to the individual, adapt to that situation, because we all have different demands on our lifestyle. And I find that's what made me very successful, is my ability to connect with people and find out what makes them tick.
Right. Yeah.
How about yourself? Like when you work with an individual, what makes a good health management guru?
Yeah. So for on my side, again, I don't have a one solution fits all kind of approach. There's no way, because everybody has different situations, and I have to custom tailor solutions to your person's strengths. Because people have different credit scores, people have different incomes, people have different savings, people have different backgrounds, whether you come from a wealthy family and not so wealthy family. People have professional jobs, people have blue collar jobs.
Some people are self-employed.
People are self-employed. So, the different permutation and combinations of those activities, I got to custom tailor for people. And I got to custom tailor to people in a way that they understand. Because sometimes people use these big words, but I realize that if I can do the best presentation I can to a client, but if they don't understand a word, or I lose them, it's going to be no benefit, right? So what I found with Alex, and I think it's funny, the reason why I connected so well with Alex, because a lot of the principles I use to coach my guys on a wealth building, without even telling, Alex basically does the same thing to me, right? Yeah. He tells me, George, because I said to Alex the other day at our workout, I said, Alex, the stretches and stuff, and the core exercise, it's killing me. Can we do weights today? Because weights are more fun. It's not as tiring. But, Alex has a plan for me, and his plan is that, George, you've been sitting on a desk for so long because of your injuries, you're immobile, you got tight shoulders, tight neck, tight back.
Tight hips.
Tight hamstrings. So you know what? All I do every day for an hour is loosen that up. But I know once I get that going, we're going to start building my so-called beach body, right?
What I call it, George 2.0.
Yeah.
And to go to what George was saying, although he wants to get into the weight training and do, more sexy things in terms of what you might envision going to the gym is all about. George, you're sitting for a lot of hours in your workday. And so when you're in this position like this, and then you were to go to the gym with all these muscles being really tight, your hips being really tight, eventually it's going to lead to injury. So just like building a good quality house, you got to build the foundation.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what we're doing. And the irony is, just with us doing what we've been doing, you're already down 5 pounds. And
7 pounds.
7 pounds.
And but I feel incredible.
We haven't even scratched the surface.
So.
And that's, just to reiterate everything that we've been talking about today, like I helped you from where you were at. I didn't say, well, you want to lose weight, you want to get stronger, well, here's what you have to do. And there's no tweaks. This is what it is. We customize it for your needs, where you were currently at fitness wise. We had to build up your conditioning. We had to work on your mobility, open up the shoulders, open up the hips, and then strengthen your core. And once all that kind of falls into place, just like when you help a client come up with a game plan to, maybe it's save money, maybe it's, whatever it is that they need, that particular individual. But when you're able to see that individual start to make those strides in the right direction, it's the most gratifying feeling.
It is. So, and a lot of good information here. So, in parting, what would you tell people? What's your parting words to get people on track? Like, what's your parting words for people?
My parting words would be, slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
Enter your fitness journey in a manner where you're not trying to take on too much. Do a little bit each day, and then maybe you start with 20 minutes walk around the block, and then from there you increase it to an hour, to now you're going for a run. Basically, you gotta, before you sprint, you gotta crawl.
Yeah. One step at a time.
Yeah.
That's very important, even on the wealth side, right?
Exactly.
You're not going to become a multimillionaire overnight.
Right. No.
It's slow and steady. You got to change the behaviors, change your attitudes, and put the building blocks in place.
Yeah.
So my thing is that, wealth is extremely important. Retirement without money it's not very retirement-like, because you need money to have fun.
Exactly.
But at the same time, you can have you can have wealth without your health. Health is very, very important. In fact, it's that chicken and egg thing where it's impossible to say which one's more important than the other.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like I see it in my industry, like you don't want to be that guy who's just all about fitness and then he has no money in the bank and he lives in his, parents' basement. You don't want to be that guy either. But at the same time, like I've worked with people where they're multi-millionaires, but they're spending all that money going to the doctor because they have all these different doctor visits that they have to go for their heart, for their kidneys, for their lungs, whatever it is, or they have some type of metabolic disorder. And now their quality of life, although they've worked so hard and so long to get to a certain point, they're spending all their time and all their money going to all these different doctor visits. So I've seen both ends of the spectrum, and that's why health and wealth are like a 1-2 punch. You need both of them.
Yeah. You need both. So in my parting words, one is definitely not more important than the other, even though from a materialistic point of view, people think wealth puts me in a better position. It's not true. If you have the ability to get both under control, life is a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And we got to have our health. So the one thing that's always stuck with me that my father said to me is that, he believed that health was very, very important. But that one saying that I still live by it every day. Everybody has problems, issues. Life is stressful, and like look at the environment where we're in today, COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
And his quote was, if you have problems that can be fixed with money, it's not that bad. So in other words, you got chronic problems. You can't use money to fix those things. So look after your health. It's very important. Reduce your stress. It's all about balance. And that's why I've totally enjoyed this conversation today with Alex, because it's not just about building wealth. It's about balanced life, which is a big part of it has to do with people's health.
Exactly. Getting your sleep, eating properly, exercising, getting your cardio, getting your weight training in, meditating, just being able to have that full spectrum when it comes to fitness. You can't just do weights and then not stretch and not do all your other fitness attributes that you need to have in order to have that optimal health.
Another question I have is that I get extreme satisfaction when I have my clients and they come here and I can take them from point A to point D, and seeing that's what actually makes me very, very happy. I'm actually very, very motivated to see people turn their lives around, become financially responsible, getting prepared for retirement. What is it that you get out of being a personal trainer?
Very similar to what you get out of being a health management guru is taking an individual who maybe has 70 pounds to lose and helping them achieve that goal, and then seeing the quality of their life enhanced and seeing how much happier they are, how much better their life is now. Like, they can go play with their kids, they can do marathons, do all these activities that they couldn't fathom doing, prior to that weight loss. So it's not just the weight loss or getting the goal, it's the journey to get that, what you're able to accomplish on the journey. So the destination, that's important, but how you change as an individual when you're on that journey, and seeing someone who may not have had discipline now have discipline, now have this lifestyle that they live, and just seeing people become the best version of themselves. That's what gives me the most satisfaction.
Okay. Well, thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful. Thank
you for having me. I hope we can have more conversations about different topics.
Absolutely, we can.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and I look forward to hearing your comments, and hope you found this interesting and valuable. And thank you.